Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Fuller, and as Chair of the Board, I welcome you to this April 16th, 2024 regular meeting of the Washtenaw County Board of Road Commissioners. Our office coordinator, Aaron Smith, will describe how our meetings operate, how to access the agenda packet, and how people may participate remotely. Aaron.
Thanks, Chair Fuller. There are multiple ways to make public comment during today's board meeting, whether you're joining us in person or virtually. If you're here in person and would like to make public comment, please fill out the sign-in sheet now. If you're joining us virtually, we will ask you to raise your hand at the appropriate time in the agenda. If you're joining us virtually and are experiencing technical issues with audio or video during the meeting, submit a comment in the chat feature and our communications manager will help you troubleshoot. If you'd like closed captioning during the meeting, you'll have to manually change your settings. Click on the captions button and select show captions. The audio and video of this meeting is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be posted at wcroads.org in the next few days. And there are printed copies of today's meeting agenda on the table near the front door, and it is also posted on our website. And now I'll turn it back over to Chair Fuller.
Thank you, Aaron. I now call this April 16th, 2024 regular meeting to order and ask Aaron to call the roll.
Chair Bart Fuller.
Present.
Vice Chair Rod Green.
Present.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Present.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Present.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs is absent today. And then the following directors are in attendance: Managing Director Matt McDonald, Director of Engineering and County Highway Engineer Brent Schlack, Director of Operations Adam Leif, and Director of Finance and IT Dan Ackerman.
Thank you, Aaron. Please join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Support.
Any additions, deletions, corrections? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would, please.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Here.
Commissioner
Yes.
Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes, the agenda is approved as presented. Next item on the agenda is acceptance of minutes. We have one set of minutes to accept. May I have a motion to accept the board meeting minutes of April 2nd, 2024, appearing on pages 3 through 13 of the packet?
So moved.
Support.
Additions, deletions, corrections? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would, please.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes, the April 2nd minutes are accepted as presented. Next, we have report of our county commissioners. I see that we have both liaisons with us today, County Commissioner Caroline Sanders of District 4, County Commissioner Crystal Light of District 2. Commissioner Sanders, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Just like to share with you that tomorrow the Board of Commissioners has their meeting, and at the 5:30, the working session, there will be discussion about a possible senior millage. And then at the board meeting, the general meeting at 7 p.m., there will be, I'm sure, lively discussion about the renewal of the public safety and mental health millage. So if you got some popcorn and several hours, please join us.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanders. Commissioner Light.
Good afternoon. I'm just bringing greetings and maybe look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, if not virtually. And if there is anything that you have for us, please just reach out so that we can make sure we are communicating and keeping up. But that's all I have for you. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Commissioner Light. Commissioners, do you have any questions for our county commissioners? I see none. We will move on now to a special recognition for Dave Kavanaugh on his retirement. Commissioner Yamas, if you would, please.
The motion is, whereas Dave Kavanaugh has served as a valuable full-time employee of the Washtenaw County Road Commission starting on April 24th, 1995 through April 17th, 2024. has elected to retire April 17th, 2024 to enjoy time with his family and friends. And whereas Dave Kavanaugh has provided 29 years of knowledge and experience as a heavy truck driver, which has greatly benefited Washtenaw County Road Commission and the citizens of Washtenaw County. And whereas in having provided 29 years of faithful and valuable service to the Washtenaw County Road Commission, his experience and knowledge will be greatly missed. Now, therefore, it is resolved that we, the Washtenaw County Board of County Road Commissioners, thank, acknowledge, and commend David Kavanaugh for his dedicated service and wish him continued good health and happiness and success in all his future endeavors.
Over here, picture. Everyone, please. Congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We all came, congratulations.
Thank you.
Um,
Congratulations. Thank you.
I'm right here, you move there, can you gentlemen move over a little bit here? And just, I ready to move down. Okay.
Oh, you don't want to go down.
Oh, okay. A little bit,
The chairs.
Okay.
You stay with. Turn sideways.
And turn sideways, turn into today. No, no, y'all turn into today. Yeah, turn into, yeah, there you go.
Turn to Dave.
Yeah, turn into today. Oh, there you go. Scoot in a little bit, please. A little bit more. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Are you 1, 2, 3, Mike?
Notice I'm one, right? Thank you, got it.
Let's get the proof. Let's get the proof.
The rest of your training.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your service.
I can give you.
I'll do, I'll.
Might have to move more chairs. I mean. Thanks, Abby.
I'm so cold.
Okay. I know y'all family, you know, but just come on a little closer. Turn in just a little bit. Shoot him, thank you. That's okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what time tomorrow, Dave? What time tomorrow is the big hour?
Well, 3:30.
3:30. Enjoy your retirement.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, Ray. Oh,
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Here, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I got the.
Thank you.
You're off.
Our finance,
Not in the spreadsheet.
finance guy.
They're getting further back. Further back.
That's great. All right. Next item on the agenda is public comment. This is the time set aside on the agenda to receive comments from the public. This is not intended to be a period for dialogue. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to address the board, and Aaron will now explain how people will be recognized to offer comments. Aaron.
Thanks, Chair Fuller. Since this is a hybrid meeting with both in-person and virtual attendees, we will take turns between those attending in person and virtually. We're actually going to start with our in-person attendees. We will start with those who signed up on the sign-in sheet as you walked in. If you didn't sign in, you're still welcome to make comment. Our communications manager will notify you when it is your turn.
Mr. Jerry, you can walk up to the.
Good afternoon, Mr. Clifton. How are you?
I'm doing good, and I hope you're doing the same.
We are. Thank
I'm
you.
glad to be here, and I wanted to take the time to come and thank the road.
Tom, for the record, because this is being recorded,
Yes,
if you could state your name and if you wish your address, so that's part of the record.
okay. My name is Jerry Clifton Senior. My address is 8692 Pine Court in Stevenson. And, I've been a resident of Superior Township since 1971. Been at the residence since 1988. And I'm here in regards to, you want a phone number or email?
No, that's fine.
Okay,
That's okay.
so, I'm here to thank you for, turning in partial of, a petition for speed bumps on Stevenson Drive. Just to give you an update that we almost at 100%. I think we had about 98% of signatures. We got at least 110 signed, and we only got one opposition. Sure. So I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but I brought an update of where we at. I can pass it out to each one of you or one of you.
If you'd please present it to Erin, she's the board secretary during the meeting.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, one other thing is, there is a very, very large hole right in the middle of Pine Court.
Can you
I've
give
blown
me a
out,
Number, is it, what house number was it by, or do you not need that, Adam?
you won't need, it's a big.
Big enough for
Fine.
you?
You come down Pine Court,
Pine Court.
before you get to the end, you'll run right into it.
All right.
Okay, I have blowed out like 3 tires, not in that hole, but I'm getting to be a little, wherever I see potholes, I try to get over to you guys, let you know where they're at and stuff like that.
Thank you.
And I'd appreciate it if you could take a look at that, see what we can do with it. I'm gonna have to get out of here. I got a great granddaughter in school. I gotta go pick her up. So,
We don't want her waiting on the curb for you.
and I thank you for your
Good
time.
to see you again. Glad you're well.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Anybody virtually that I mean, I don't,
Time.
no, okay. All right. Next item on our agenda is written communications, pages 14 through 16 of our packet. Commissioners, anything you wish to draw our attention to? Commissioner Yamas.
I'd like to congratulate on our 3 Tiffany Offlant for the communications manager, Brent Schlack, Director of Engineering, Adam Lape, Director of Operations, for their CRA 2024 Impress Awards for communication, collaboration, and operations. I'm really proud of our staff. So wanted to thank them.
Thank you.
Anything else, commissioners?
And I
Commissioner
join in
Gray?
that congratulations, job well done. Thank you for
We're gonna
representing so
pile
well.
on.
Yeah. That was
think
a very good picture with the award boards and that. I really like that. Who took that picture? Oh, okay.
As people.
Probably Justin, huh?
No, they had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the end of the award, they all go out that side door.
Oh,
There's
that's
this-
right.
This little sheet that's hanging in the back.
Right, right. Good picture.
And what was the People's Choice Award? Which one was that?
Collaboration.
Collaboration. That was about the culverts,
The culvert
drainage?
project, yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
All right. So in addition to these 3, then there was one that was voted upon.
Right.
That received the People's Choice Award. Well done. Well done. All 3 of you. This is kind of a fun day. All right. Anything else? All right, We will move on to road commissioner comment and staff follow-up to Mr. Clifton. Anything?
Madam
Commissioner
Chair,
McCollum?
I want to thank Mr. Clifton for appreciating the road commission for their work. I really appreciated that. I know, people, you know, they're busy and they do appreciate the work that we do, but it's really nice to hear when someone takes the time to come and say, you know what, I appreciate all the good work that you're doing.
Agreed. Commissioner Green?
And I had a question for, I guess, for our managing director. What length of road are we talking about having speed bump, if you know?
Yeah, so
Half a
it-
mile, quarter mile?
Stephen Drive, it's a not very long segment and there's several cul-de-sac residential streets that come off of Stevens Drive.
Right.
So the petition area is anyone that would have to drive Stevens Drive to get to their home. That's the petition area that he's collecting signatures for. And I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Clifton's efforts, applaud him. He's been at this for quite some time, dealing between the Road Commission Board and Superior Township Board. He's at a point where he's submitted the petition. We're reviewing that petition to check residency, and then after which would formulate likely an agreement between Superior Township and the Road Commission for the funding of speed humps.
Like a half mile?
Yeah, Brent, if you have the map up, I see you've already Google mapped it for us.
Can you, yeah.
And I will, while he's plugging in, I'll also give kudos to our traffic and safety section within the engineering department. Brent, Aaron Burkholz, Michelle Ford, Elena Udikina, they all have had a part in the journey for speed humps in this neighborhood. And Stevens Drive, I know Mr. Clifton's been to this board several times and worked with staff on this topic.
I'm not finding it. Can you give me a?
Yeah, Brent Schlack, Director of Engineering. So Stevens Drive, here, let me zoom in a little bit. It's right here.
There it is.
Right in the middle.
So between
Oh, okay.
Stamford and Nottingham.
Okay.
And I also would like to commend Mr. Clifton. So what Matt is talking about is you see all these courts that are along Stevens Drive.
Could you turn on the aerial, Brent?
Yeah,
So you can see all
yeah,
the houses.
I was.
There
yeah.
you go. Yep.
It's kind of, so there's all these courts that are off of Stevens Drive. And the way our petition or our neighborhood traffic management program works is that if a home is impacted by the installation of a speed hump, then they have a vote within the petition. And so since those like Cedar Court, Pine Court, Hemlock Court, since their only way in and out from their home is to utilize Stevens Drive and go over those speed humps, they then have to sign the petition.
And it's a percentage, right, of?
Correct. It's 51% of the affected properties within Stevens Drive have to approve the installation.
And we lowered that percentage, how many years ago? 3?
2 years ago, we lowered that. It
Used to
previously
be.
was 75%,
Yeah.
which was a recommendation by the Institute of Transportation Engineers. But 51 just aligns with the SAD process and a lot of other petitions. So we lowered that to 51.
And their concern was cut through, wasn't it, that people were speeding?
Yeah, they're concerned about, those that are cutting through Stevens and those that are speeding along Stevens Drive.
So it's a suggestion that the speed bumps would run from Nottingham Drive all the way to Stamford Road, or?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Which
Um,
Nottingham, I see 2.
Yeah, I
Nottingham
can,
at the bottom.
The southerly one. the
Okay.
bottom
When
of your
when I
screen.
do my report, I can pull the map up and show
Okay.
you the map
Right, yeah.
of
that-
where the
that too.
the speed up. So how the petition works is we engineer where those locations are, and there's a certain footage that there's a recommendation on how far between those humps to be effective. And we lay that out. We physically go out and paint where they're at so that when, as people are voting, they can see where those locations would be.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I understand Superior Township has pledged to underwrite the cost of these. Is that right?
Yes, they've passed a resolution supporting the installation of the speed humps and funding those.
Other questions?
No.
No?
No.
You're all set? Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brent.
Any other response to Mr. Clifton? I hope he made it for his granddaughter. Pick her up. I've been in that situation myself. Okay, not for grandchildren. Next item on our agenda is new business. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Items 1 through 8. The motions appear on page 18 through 21. Background on pages 22 through 40.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. Commissioner McCollum, I believe you had a
Yes.
question?
Madam Chair, I have a question about the financial report where it says that the last paragraph, due to a combination of carryover items and favorable variances for all departmental expenditures, the bottom line reflects an increase of approximately 8.4 million in the fund balance from the 2023 final amended budget. I just want some more clarification on that.
And this appears on page 18 of the
Page
packet.
18 of the
Item
packet.
number 1, 2023 financial report. And Ms. Tiffany, my screen is blank.
Mine too.
I can certainly
ahead.
work to address that while we're working on the screen. I think at the working session this morning, we covered some of the questions around this particular item. We had that presentation by Plant Moran. We described that essentially that additional fund balance was due to carryover. We had favorable revenue for Michigan transportation funds. The carryover related to capital outlay for the salt material storage building that did not get completed in 23 and is getting carried over to 24. We had heavy trucks purchases that did not arrive and now have arrived in 24, and they will get recognized in that budget. So all those funds, a lot of those funds are being accounted for and also have designated areas to be spent in 24. And we will approve that first quarter budget amendment that will really adjust that fund balance to what was 30 million at year end. Again, a snapshot in time now will become 18 million by the end of 24. That's our projection. So that is roughly 19% of our revenues, well within the threshold of what Plant Moran's recommendation is based on our expenditures for the year. So did I miss anything, Mr. Ackerman, our finance director?
Dan Ackerman, Director of Finance and IT. And if you recall, the initial 2023 budget, there was some deficit spending that was, the bottom line. But we actually were able to add about 8.5 million to the fund balance, bringing it up to the 30 million. And as Matt explained, a lot of it's carryover, and we kind of went into the details earlier, but we actually were able to add about, $8.5 million to the fund balance, bring it to 30 million.
Thank you.
So we're within the range of recommended fund balance percentage
Oh,
for our
yes.
auditors.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you for that question.
No, great question. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, Aaron, if you would call the roll on the consent items 1 through 8, please.
Commissioner Joya McCollum?
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas?
Yes.
And Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes, the consent agenda is approved as presented and clarified. Next, we will move on to reports. we will start with Commissioner Yamas.
No report.
Commissioner Green,
I have no report. Thank you.
Commissioner Smers is excused today. He has a professional obligation that took him away. Commissioner McCollum.
Yes, Madam Chair. On April 3rd, I attended the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners meeting. And I was pleased that the road commission millage was passed to be on the ballot. And on April 3rd, I attended the chat and road commission with the road commission. There were no attendees. On April 9th was the Park and Rec Board meeting. I was not able to attend. However, there is an article on the Border to Border titled Trail is Trail is growing, the Border to Border Trail is growing in Washtenaw County in 2024. It's by MLive and it's included in today's packet. I was glad to see that. So if you get a chance, please look at that. On April 10th, I attended the Michigan Public Health Week in Lansing, Michigan at the Capitol in the beautiful Heritage Hall atrium. I received the Jean Chabot Health Policy Champion Award on behalf of the Community Voices for Health Equity Committee. The Community Voices for Health Equity Committee was also joined by Senator Sue Shink. She helped us celebrate that. And the Community Voices for Health Equity is located in Washtenaw County. It's an organization of community members who live in and identify areas of groups most impacted by health inequities in their county. The Community Voices team works to build relationships within and across their communities to discuss health equity issues, shape county health department practices, and support community-led advocacy and action. The CV team also organizes events to connect community members with resources and are establishing a community health clinic that will open in 2024. CV is comprised of people who are deeply committed to removing barriers to health and improving people's lives. Members give significant amounts of their personal time to convene and co-facilitate meetings, host community events, implement projects, and advocate for health equity. I also viewed the public meeting, Jackson Road Concrete Rehabilitation Project. I really enjoyed this virtual video, and Aaron did a great job at explaining things, and I learned a lot at watching this. And so I really enjoyed that video. I learned about the concrete and it was more expensive in the beginning, but how in high traffic areas it's more needed, and why it has to be done in those squares or whatever. I just learned a lot. It was very intriguing. I also viewed the virtual public meeting 2024 countywide resurfacing program. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner McCollum. I will report that on April 3rd, I too attended the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners meeting for the final reading of the resolution placing the restore and renew of the road and non-motorized 4-year millage on the August 6th primary ballot. This organization was well represented by Commissioners McCollum and Smers and myself. Our managing director, Matt McDonough, was present. Our director of engineering, Brent Schlack, was present, and our director of operations, Adam Lake, was present. Did I miss anyone else from our organization that was there? I don't think so. Okay. And it was a great opportunity for all of us to meet the county commissioners, and I think they met some of us for the first time as well. So it was time well spent, and I believe that meeting adjourned shortly after 8 o'clock as opposed to 12:45 a.m. So that was nice. Today, be mindful that there are special elections to decide who will be the new state representative in districts 13 and 25. The outcome of those two elections determines who is the majority party in the Michigan House, effective immediately. Special acknowledgement to Tiffany Oliphant. She's our communications manager for the Milestone Moments. feature that appeared in last Friday's weekly update from the managing director. Tiffany's really upped our communications game in many ways when I thought we had topped out in the past. And this is just one more way that she's made it even more fun to see what we're doing and who's here and what's happening. So my thanks to Tiffany. That's all of my report. We will move on to the managing director report and his staff reports and any other updates you care to share. Staff reports begin on page 41 and run through the end of the packet on page 53. Matt.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, any questions? I know we had quite a few reports within the board packet. Any questions on that content?
Commissioner McCollum.
Madam Chair, Matt, just out of curiosity, I don't know where I read this. I'm so sorry. I didn't put the page number, but there was something about reprogramming the transmissions in the truck. Why would that have to happen?
Mr. Leip, I think that had to do with our AVL implementation.
All right, you get to nerd out.
All right. All right, Adam Lake, Director of Operations. So, two-sided. So, one of the reprogrammings came from a previous AVL demonstration we were doing.
AVL means.
AVL is the automatic vehicle location. So that's basically the GPS for a truck. So
Oh, okay.
positions, global positioning sensors. So some of the systems over the past 6, 8, 10 years, the way they used to connect them, they basically just plug it into the onboard diagnostic port. So basically where you plug in your mechanic's computer to see what the car or whatever vehicle is giving you readings and data and telemetry. Used to just plug into those, everything was good. Some of the systems end up providing feedback into the transmissions, which obviously isn't good. Transmission gets a little nervous about that. And so essentially the truck won't shift. The reprogramming specific to the operations report from the shop that you're probably reading there towards the bottom, that's actually something we have to do occasionally, whether it be a sensor goes bad, damage to the internal, like actual mechanical portions, so the mechanism and gears. Sometimes we have to do some reprogramming after that. Most of the time it's related to some type of electrical glitch. So it does occur more often than you would think. Our mechanics are pretty good with a computer now these days, as well as with a wrench, which used to be able to just fix whatever parts were in there and off you went. There's an entire computer that runs the transmission as well, and it has to link up with 3 or 4 other big computers on the truck. So, but back to the actual AVL issue we had. So the new AVL that we're going to install, we are waiting on a backordered cable that will basically skip that and hardwire to the truck. And so when the vendor installs that, we'll skip that issue. So we kind of learned, honestly, by a previous demonstration we were running, 6 years after the fact, 4 years after the fact, that it was causing some issues. So then we talked with our vendor, which being Verizon, and 3 or 4 days later figured that out, and off we went. But yeah, that reprogramming specifically was just a failure that had happened electronically.
Okay,
Yeah, so it does happen 2 different ways.
thank you.
That answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. Any other questions?
On the reports. Okay. I just had a couple of things. I wanted to note that this Thursday, April 18th, we'll begin our summer hours. So our office hours will be 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., closed on Fridays. We will have staff on Monday through Friday at times. Our engineering department is overseeing our construction projects, and certainly they don't stop on Fridays. So there'll be staff in the building, but officially our office hours are Monday through Thursday.
Phones being answered on Friday?
If they're called directly to our staff, yes. If it's the main line, no. It would go to the answering service.
Okay, okay.
Another note, I'm very excited about next Monday, April 22nd. That's our spring training event. It's at Washtenaw Community College. And we are getting started with our programmed event at 7 a.m. So we'll be kicking off with a welcome. We'll be introducing the board members and some of our staff and our new staff. So excited about the agenda. Look forward to the event, and a big thank you for all those helping plan, especially our communications team.
So breakfast at 6:30, right?
Yes, we do have a hot breakfast that will begin at 6:30. Because crews are on their summer hours, they'll report to the yard at 6, venture over to WCC, breakfast will be ready and waiting. And then we do have some crews or staff that are on 7 a.m. So they will arrive at 7 a.m. and then we'll get started.
So check in between 6:30 and 7. I think we have
Absolutely.
assigned tables.
We
not?
do, we have assigned tables.
Okay,
So there'll be seating in the morning assigned, and then we'll have lunch, and then we'll flip the script and reassign for the afternoon. That's an attempt to, just for our organization, we don't get together often, so we can mix and mingle between different tables and just have a new set of folks to experience the training in the afternoon with.
so don't be late or you'll never hear the end of it, right? When you're introduced and you're not there.
There we go. Lastly, I wanted to remark, we do have a landscaping project going out front. You probably saw that coming in. We are working with a firm that's a local firm, Colorossi Landscaping. This was part of some of the concerns shared during our site plan approval process with Scioto Township and the salt barn. We wanted to address some landscaping issues. So we got quotes from various landscapers, local. This one was the best bid for or quote for us, and we moved forward with that. So we're sprucing up the outside. That involves some landscaping in the front entryway and all along the wall that's in our frontage on our building. So
And
we're
this was
excited about that.
Precipitated by the storage
Yeah.
material storage, the salt barn.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I often struggle with that as well. We've called it the salt barn. We've called this winter material storage building.
Material storage.
We do have the brine tanks inside there, so there is more than salt. So I guess that's why we have the extended name. So when you do a site plan amendment, they do look at everything from lighting to the new structure you're building, from stormwater management, landscaping. And we want to go through their process and be good neighbors. So that's just part of the process. So we were just, that's what's going on out front, so to speak, when you're walking in and out of the parking lot, if you use the front entrance.
But they like the old road grader or the snow.
Well, we did not, in fact, we are gonna remove the road grader. That is it's sinking into the grass and making it a problem for mowing and weed whipping around it, and we don't want to damage it either further. So we are gonna get that removed. Just funny that you bring that up. So we will, it will not be parked out front shortly. So
Okay.
if you need a picture with that ahead of time, Tiffany can help out if you're.
Yes, please take care of that.
With that, I will invite up Mr. Brent Schlack to give an engineering report.
Hello, good afternoon. Brent Schlack, Director of Engineering. I'll just show you, Tiffany, I'll plug in and I'll show you the layout of Stevens Drive. So this is the layout that was actually marked prior to the signatures being collected. And so as you can see, it goes from, all the whole length of Stevens Drive.
Humps or bumps?
Those will be humps.
Okay.
7 humps.
Yeah, there's a difference between a hump and a bump. Humps are 14-foot long by 3 inches tall. Versus a bump that would be similar to what you'd see in a parking lot, which is very narrow and, 2 foot wide and very tall. Right. Yeah, the idea is that you want the hump, you want to maintain 25 miles an hour. We have our equipment that goes over at Emergency Services, and all of those folks came together several years ago to approve the design of the hump that we use today.
And Brent, the material that we choose to build the humps out of is concrete, correct?
Correct. Yeah, thanks, Matt. There was a period of time where we used asphalt or HMA for those humps, and it was difficult to form those on the to make that kind of an even slope. So concrete is very easy to manage and get the proper design that we want. And the cost is very similar. We elected to do that, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And so now we do only concrete humps. And of course, the longevity of those is a lot longer. It's easier for our crews as they're, if we're working with a township on a mill and resurface of the road, it's easier for that mill to go up to a concrete hump versus an old HMA.
When will these be installed?
Well, first we have to work through, like Matt said, we're working through the process with the township and getting all the signatures verified. And then once they're verified, then we'll then put it out to bid. So we have several other locations, some within Pittsfield Township that will be going out to bid. So it'll be this summer.
Okay.
And that's, given that everything else through the process is approved. And then we have the resolution from the township that is indicating that they will fund these humps. So that step is already, but we'll form an agreement, like Matt said, with the township, just securing that language to make sure that those funds come to us and in the manner that we need those for the project. But you'll see those bids and they'll come in front of you whenever we go to accept those.
So summer.
Summer, yes.
Yeah, and I will add, we've got other neighborhoods, particularly one other one in Superior Township that is going through the similar process. So this will allow time for the process to occur. And for those that are ready, we'll basically cut it off and say, all right, these are the ones we're going to go bid out this year. We enter into agreements once we get pricing, and then we go execute and go build them this summer.
If you recall, several meetings ago, we had Hawks was another one within Pittsfield Township. That's another roadway that'll go within this bid package. So there'll be several locations, which is, a benefit of economies of scale that we would, there's 7 humps along here, and then we have another several within Pittsfield, and then more within Superior Township. So we'll bid those all together. Okay, I'm gonna unplug for a second. Tiffany, I will plug back in. Second, I just gotta get to my report. I guess first off, thank you for your comments on the CRA awards. And for me, I'd like to thank staff. Staff in the engineering department really moved this project forward with the Water Resource Commission. And if it wasn't for those on staff, that project wouldn't have been as successful as it is. Also, within the board packet was our pavement marking bids. Also, just one note on that, within the pavement marking bids, we also included centerline corrugations, the rumble strips. So we do have a few locations that we want to address, one being Pleasant Lake Road. That's Pleasant Lake between Schneider and Parker. That was a safety project last year that didn't get included within that safety project, but we do see that it would be a benefit for that segment. So that will be included in our projects this year. But just to note, that's new to us, part of that pavement marking bid. It's not new to us as being part of a bid. I think it's part of our current HMA bid with Cadillac, but it'll be new to us. And then also traffic and safety will be able to manage those and where they need to be placed. Our public meetings, I know you'd mentioned the Jackson Road. That was our virtual public meeting last week regarding the concrete repairs. That was between Myrtle and Jackson Industrial. That public meeting went really well. That project will be planned. We're bidding that out now, but the plan is that it would be closed after the Jackson Cruise, which is June 8th, I believe. And so there'll be a June 10th lane closures for that project. This Thursday, we have a virtual public meeting. It's our construction kickoff. This is kind of an overview of projects that are chosen for this year. and the different construction methods and even maintenance practices. So if you can attend, I think it's, I don't know, is it 11 a.m.? Virtual public meeting this Thursday, is it 11? I think it's 11 a.m. Yeah, it's 11 a.m. Yeah. Just some other,
Time out, Commissioner McCollum.
I just had a question about the Jackson Road
Yeah.
virtual meeting. The pictures of, you know, they were saying, be careful, which I love that you always talk about being careful on the road and not crossing, you know, follow the instructions. But that car that was in the concrete, was that here? That it
No.
drove into the concrete?
we've had an incident that was over on Wagner Road, or Ann Arbor Saline Road, actually, Ann Arbor Saline at Wagner. That was one that they had driven through it. I think the one that was within the concrete, I believe, was another project outside of our county.
Okay,
Is that the one with the turtle that went through it, or this was a vehicle?
this was a vehicle. that
Yeah, it was a sedan.
in the concrete.
Mhm.
It drove in the concrete.
Yeah, we've had issues with that. When we were building Carpenter Road between Packard and Washtenaw, there were several instances where cars were in the concrete.
Yeah.
So I appreciate all of the instructions that are given in these virtual meetings about how careful you need to be, and the pictures help.
Yeah, thank you.
What could happen if you
Yeah.
do not follow those instructions?
Yeah, motorists need to be mindful of our signs and that they are real and there's a reason for them. And so I appreciate you bringing that up.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Thank you, Houston, for bringing that up.
Adam?
Yeah, the picture on the right is Ann Arbor Saline Road, just south of Wagner.
By Jack Forrest.
That we had done that intersection improvement. And yeah, that was a truck with a trailer actually that went through that.
And the one on the left is in our,
That
That
one-
one, not, I don't believe that's within.
That is not, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just an example.
It's an example.
We've definitely had that happen.
Right.
Usually we're so intent on trying to remedy the situation that we aren't oftentimes taking pictures of that. But I've been on projects where that has happened, unfortunate. And there's a lot going on. It's a work zone. There's a lot of direction and signing, but ultimately the underlying message is they have to be paying attention when you're a work zone. Be cautious, be aware, and try not to be distracted.
that causes a delay, does it not, in the
Yes,
project?
it does,
If we
yes.
Redo that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And wouldn't that cost more, would that cost more money to, now you have to repair it?
The good news for us,
Yeah.
it doesn't cost us any because a part of our contract documents is the contractor is responsible for the work zone and protecting the work zone. And ultimately, in the case of Ann Arbor Saline and Wagner, they had to replace it at their cost. Right. Which was expensive.
Yeah.
But it costs time. So you add a day to remove, a day to put back, and another week to cure. You know, that's all time delay for that intersection closure.
Something that's beyond just weather. We normally say that, you know, weather can impact our jobs, but whenever you have an incident like that, that delays, it, you know, it's easy to describe that to public, but it's never welcoming. And it's something that we don't want to deal with either. So.
Thank you.
Work continues at North Territorial and Dexter Town Hall. Actually, they're installing curb today along that segment. So that project is progressing really well and is on schedule. The carryover work that we had for the subdivision work within Pittsfield and Ipsy is nearing completion. We have one location within Pittsfield that needs to be addressed, and then we have another subdivision within Ypsilanti, the Whispering Meadows and Parkside that are looking to get, and that's for curb work and ADA sidewalk ramps. So those should be completed here in the next couple weeks. Our contractor is close to having the mast arm steel for the Ford and Russell and Ellsworth and Oak Valley. So Ford and Russell, that steel should be erected this week. And then next week, they'll be moving over to Ellsworth and Oak Valley. And then it'll be a couple weeks until those are energized to update for that updated equipment. North Territorial Road, that's our safety project between Mast and Webster Church. That was started yesterday. And so that project is actually moves it down to one lane right there at Webster Church, at the intersection of Webster Church and North Territorial. And it is controlled by traffic signals. So that's one lane there at that intersection.
So we don't have flaggers standing there dealing with
We do not.
motorists.
We do not.
And also Webster Church is
Closed, yes.
Okay.
so northbound and southbound Webster Church is closed because of the intersection. And that ultimately will be a traffic signal when it's all said and done.
Correct. Yep, yeah, that'll be widened out to include center left turn lanes and a traffic signal.
Great. Big
Uh,
improvement.
Miller and Zeeb, that roundabout project that was brought up earlier, that was closed yesterday. So that project has started. There was notice sent out for Parker Road. That's our pulverization and paving project. That's scheduled to begin next week, the paving, but we're gonna be closing that tomorrow, I believe. Adam, I'm looking at Adam.
Parker, where?
For our operations to do some prep work. There's some drainage, some minor forestry work along that to prep for that project.
What stretch of Parker?
Dancer to, let me get the limits. Parker Road, between Scioto Church and, nope, yes, between Scioto Church and Liberty.
North of there, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Back to my list here. So let me, I'll plug in real quick.
That's okay. I don't.
That's
need to
okay,
delay you. I
okay.
was just trying to visualize what was.
Yep, again, these are all on our website. So I encourage those to go to our website. Tiffany and her staff have done a great job of updating and continue to update all of our projects. There's tiles that you can go to for each project. Parker Road's the beginning of our resurfacing program. So we have just over 25 miles of centerline resurfacing that we're gonna be doing, and Parker Road's the beginning of that. So I'd encourage you to go to our website and look up those projects. So with that, that concludes my report.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when someone gets up to go wherever, to go to work each day, they're not always going to go to our website. They'll go, what, to MapQuest or Google and say.
Ways or,
Ways, okay. Do our project limits show up when people go, I mean, are we talking to them?
I don't know. I know that they have picked up on a lot of our projects that
Okay.
have closures.
Right?
I don't know if we have a direct,
We do, we can link exactly to Waze, but typically what happens is that the people who are using Waze talk to the app themselves. They say that traffic is slow, there's construction here, and so that helps the process.
Okay,
So sometimes they'll have it and sometimes they won't, and they really rely on people driving than so much us
oh, to report in?
to report in, yes.
and if they see a segment of road where, you know, it used to have 8,000 vehicles and now it doesn't have any or very little, that may be a flag for them.
That's a lot of times where if you go on your navigation maps, whether it be Google or Apple, it tracks vehicle speed based on your cell phone. And that's how they tell whether traffic is traveling at posted speeds or not. And if it's slowing down, you'll get the yellow, or if it's, stoppage, it's the red. So, and then if they're not seeing any traffic at all on a segment, it starts to automate, closures. The Waze is more of a interactive social, whereas Google Maps and Apple Maps, that's managed by them.
I didn't realize that's how they got their information for creating red zones or yellow zones or.
Yes.
That's great. So it's not relying on us to push that information out,
Yeah,
right?
correct. They rely on their own cell phone users, right?
Great, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Learned
Any
something
other
new.
questions? No, thank you.
Mr. McIndoll.
Okay. Adam Light, Director of Operations.
Good afternoon again. Adam Labe, Director of Operations. Real quick update. We were just talking that construction meeting will be at 11:30 a.m. We just double checked back there. So I will plug in for just a moment here on my update.
While he's plugging in, I will thank Adam and his staff, as they have been doing a great job of getting all of our local road and township agreements. This consent agenda had a number of them, both for the local road program and culverts. So they continue to bear fruit with those relationships, and our local road program, matching program, is doing well. They will continue to roll in. And like I said earlier at the working session, we'll go ahead and update that local road program for second quarter once all the agreements are in place.
That's correct. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, so local road program is actually off to a flying start this year. Last board meeting, we touched a little bit on drainage improvements, and then we also touched on one of our goals for 50,000 tons of stone before the end of the month. And I think we might have passed that already this week. So it's Mother Nature is cooperating.
It's
So
Tuesday, isn't it?
yes, ma'am. Yeah, so no, not that many just this week, as in we surpassed our goal for the month
Oh,
this
I
week,
was
sorry.
gonna say,
Yeah,
oh,
not just in 2 days. We'd be a little too busy for that.
Okay.
But, we need some bulldozers to spread that much stone, but, so nonetheless, the local program is going great. We're narrowed down probably less than 5 townships, really just finalizing some, whether it be modifying the proposed agreements or adding additional, and then just finalizing their first. So we're off to a great start,
so
so.
that's 5 out of 20.
Right, and none of them are late behind or anything. It's just one's a little more complex, combination of engineering department, operations department, multiple hands trying to work this and massage it so we get good projects and hit budgets. So we're doing a thing, we've been talking about here recently, the last year and a half or so, 2 years, really trying to iron out things prior to the job taking off and starting, and also edit through the project, making sure our estimates were close. And so that's why we're taking some time this year to make sure our estimates are great when they go out the door. So we're actually going to refine a few of them just to make us even more accurate getting the season started. So with that being said, local road program projects, also primary road projects, some being millage, some MTF funded, working throughout the county on unpaved roads as well. So the picture you see right there is, so drainage improvements are complete, and now we're to the point of the project where we're talking about spreading the limestone. So this is one of our vendors and their broker spreading the limestone for us. If you look real close between the first trailer that's raised in the air all the way, that one's spreading the stone. And then after that, our grader comes by, shapes that road up, is the reference we use, that we essentially create a crown like you would see even on a paved road. And then we have one of our rollers behind it, roll that in, and then at some point throughout the day, usually at the end of business, or before we go home, so to speak, we'll put some dust suppression on that, and that road will be sealed up for the next day. Our bigger jobs will spread anywhere between 4 and 6 inches, kind of go one direction, so to speak. So let's say we'll go west, and we'll turn around then and spread 4 to 6 inches back to the east, or whatever remaining tonnage we have back to the east, kind of a cap you'll hear our crews referring to. The reason for that is so we're not putting massive quantities down at once, because it's sometimes harder to manage that grade as we spread for, throughout 3, 4, 5 days, depending on the size of the project. So that's that, just a little highlight, but question?
What stretch of road is this?
That was, and actually this is, I just pulled this up, this is a 2023, and I believe this was Talladay Road. And you see in the top right corner, that was a District 5 project. I didn't grab any from this year because the 1 or 2 pictures we've had, we've already used in our other presentations. So I just wanted a good view where you can see a couple trucks lined up and kind of some open area, almost perfect world scenario. No trees on the side, nice width. So Augusta Township had that option for us. So that was the first one I picked when I was sitting back there a few moments ago.
Adam, just to reiterate, also one of the reasons we do in lifts is to get better compaction.
Correct. Yeah, you know, so they're standard to subgrade and actual like road grade. So you want to lift usually between 4 and 6 inches. Most of the equipment we have can't compact anything deeper than that. So most best practices are to keep that lift between 4 and 6 inches. You can easily lose, like kind of referenced a little bit before, you can easily lose your grade or your control. So the road can become a little bit wavy when you're putting it really, really deep, you know, beyond 6 inches. So we do try to maintain a little bit of standard. Maintaining that standard is also consistent with what we expect out of contractors that work for the engineering department. You know, we wouldn't let them put 10 inches down at one time in one spot. So we try to hold ourselves to that standard as well, just to eliminate any, really you could end up with like a soft spot or something we refer to as a pocket, where inevitably you'll have finished grade and end up with a hole that's always in the same spot. And a lot of times those are soft spots that are created, whether it be naturally from ice or heaving, or just simply lack of compaction when we put it down. So we try to eliminate that because those are hard to remove and cut out, you know, later on down the line. So thank you, Matt. I'll disconnect here and go into my update if there aren't any other questions on this.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we haven't talked about equipment in a while, and it's actually kind of found its way to the top to talk about today a little bit. So wanted to give a little highlight on that and the slight increase improvement, call it what you may, with equipment. We're starting to actually see it come in the year we order it now. And so we're hoping it becomes a good trend. But with that update, stepping back to the 8 international trucks that we purchased, originally ordered, I should say, in 2021. I've actually physically touched all those trucks and they are being built out. We do have 3 or 4 of them actually here in our possession now for the final bit of upfitting. And that's essentially just a little bit of programming, some radios, and then they find their way out to the crews. So we're starting to close out that carryover stuff from a few years back. So probably within the month, we should see those. They're all built, just waiting on the final units to come from a company we use to apply the greasers. We have an automatic greasing system, which helps us a little bit on some of the pivot pieces that are harder to get to for the crews. So once those are finished, those other 4 or 5 will find their way in the door, and then we'll put radios in those, and those will start rolling out to the crew.
So 8 were ordered what year?
So we first ordered 11 in 2021, and then last fall, we reduced that order to 8 because of inflation. They inflated the cost, you know, so is what it is. So we made an executive decision to reduce that down to 8. And so these 8 are the 2021 order international units. So those will find their way in the door. And ironically enough, as you all know, we've approved 5 Western Star heavy trucks to be converted into dump trucks. Those are actually a good chance of being here and being deployed prior to winter as well. So kind of took a few years for one manufacturer, what's only taken about 7 months for another manufacturer. So what it really highlights is just the very good process we have of getting orders in as soon as we can, even, you know, prior to the end of fiscal year, to try to at least get these things moving, because it's helpful for our staff, especially the shop, to get that new influx of equipment prior to winter.
How many Western Stars?
5.
And just as a reminder, that's the schedule we want to be on. If a truck lasts 10 years and we've got 50 of them, we have to at least get 5 a year.
Correct.
That's the kind of mindset we want to take with heavy trucks.
Yep.
And we're starting to hopefully get back to pre-COVID procurement where supply chain issues aren't as bad. The pent up need isn't quite as bad there.
Correct.
They're really starting to normalize, get back to way it used to be. But we
Yeah.
want to stay proactive. We want to continue to get our orders in when we think it makes sense. Oftentimes after we get through second quarter budget, we start looking at, we get approved that second quarter budget, we've done our look aheads, then we're gonna make the recommendation. All right, we'd like to order those 5 trucks, get in line early so that, like Adam is talking, that we can receive them this calendar year, which is great news.
Yeah, you know, we had, as you all know, had to start making some adjustments to how soon the board would take action, so we could, you know, get our order and in theory, take actual action and try to get them built and delivered. Thankfully, that's finding its way and kind of mending back together again, so we're actually, our practice now is working. Hopefully, you know, fingers crossed we stay that way, but we noticed at first, heavy equipment seemed to be, Michigan Caterpillar seemed to be the first one to really start kind of getting themselves righted. And that was beneficial and proved itself with the few graders that we received here in the last year or so, last 8 months. And then even to the point, the extra grader that we ordered for this year, excuse me, will probably arrive before the end of season.
And
So
when were the 5 Western Stars ordered?
they were ordered, I believe, in November.
Of last year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep, once the board took action, so we placed that order in theory, and we don't pay for until they physically show up. So that's where, it's beneficial to be able to take action early on.
But we do budget for it, right, Dan?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, and that's where that conservative side of budgeting helps because we know what we're going to spend in the coming year. And now that the system has kind of aligned itself and what we are actually procuring is showing up in that fiscal year, it's a little more comfortable for us to say, okay, $1 million is $1 million in purchases,
Yeah.
knowing we'll be able to actually exhaust that this year.
Okay.
On top of that, we do have,
Wait, stop.
oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Green.
So from the point of time of order to the point that we receive it is about 2 years.
It was.
Was.
I think we're getting closer back to within a year. It was the internationals, that, not blaming international, I think a little bit of that was the COVID pandemic that affected that mainly. I really think that was the first influence. And then them trying to right their ship, I think is what extended us well beyond our, you know, typical anywhere between 12 to 15 months. I look for us to get back to that. I think Western Star is going to prove they might be able to get it to us quicker than that. But once again, remaining a bit conservative, I'd say, you know, 15, 16 months is probably a comfortable spot for us to assume right now when we're ordering.
And just for point of clarification, so we have the truck manufacturer, then there's the upfitting. So we receive the truck and then we also have to take it over to truck and trailer, who will do all the upfitting. So, you know, it's a good 12 to 18 months is kind of the window where we're operating now.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll take delivery of a cabin chassis with no bed or plows or anything on it, you know, sometime this summer, which is only a handful of months, you know, 7 months from when we ordered them, give or take. But then you have another few months that you need to get something built out. So hopefully those timelines start to find themselves back down to so we can say, well, yeah, we're only 8 or
12
10
months,
months out.
that'd be great.
But, conservatively, we're not there yet, but we're closer than we have been before.
Long time.
My next update actually will help with that, understand it a little bit. There is a semi that we ordered as well, that's a Western Star as well, that will be used to pull trailers. In theory, that is going to be mated with a tanker that we approved purchase last year. And that's almost a 19-month build time just for this trailer that holds our liquid for our dust control. So the semi itself, the truck, the power unit is actually going to show up this year, and the trailer we ordered from, you know, a year and a half ago will now find its way and they'll be mated up and may actually be able to get out on the road this year, which is another thing that highlights kind of our process and how it helps us in the long run to take action when we know something's going to take a while to get delivered. Another example of that would be the engineering department signs and signals crew. The signal crew wanted to procure a new aerial platform. And we did this within the first couple weeks of me taking over after Jim retired. And we're still yet to see that. We'll probably see that. And it was a very clear from the start, which was good. So we've been able to carry that over and we understand, you know, that 200 and some odd $1,000 will be exhausted this year. And so we should see that sometime this fall, hopefully sooner than then, but that's where we initially set out to. So there are some lead times with certain pieces of equipment, but nonetheless, our process is solid. So this is a good day, I thought, to talk about that when it's kind of related to the budget. The efficiency that'll be created out of that fourth, kind of bouncing back to this tanker though, that'll be used to apply the dust suppression material, so the liquid brine that we use. That's gonna take us to 4 units that are capable of doing that. So that's in theory 20 to 30,000 gallons of material on the road at any given time. And then we have some smaller units, 3,000 or 4,000 gallon units that can do the smaller roads. What that does is give us plenty of capacity to keep up with our graders for dust control. And in theory, makes us faster, a little more efficient, which is another reason why we're able to bring that back in-house last year as a maintenance cost, and then allow the townships to use those funds for actual road projects. So it all kind of finds its way to it. A lot of moving pieces, but it's finding its way. And then the smallest, easiest, which seems to be right now, which used to be the hardest, the light fleet. So your smaller, your pickups, things like that we refer to, the 3 SUVs that we just purchased. The board took action and we had them 3 days later. So that's fine. We're going through a different company now. And so LaFontaine has been able to get those to us a little bit quicker. And the board took action a few weeks ago, I think our previous meeting, on pickup trucks, and one of them showed up yesterday. So we're catching up in some aspects, and we've ordered the other ones that weren't available, and probably by the end of the year we'll have those. So something that was hard for us to achieve is now found its way back to normal. So we're hopeful there, and price fluctuation has only been a few $1,000s. So we're doing okay. We're faring in the right direction with that. So that is my update, unless there are any other equipment specific questions.
I do not. Anything else, Joanne? No.
I know. Good news is that things are showing up. That's what we're happy about, and it's helping us.
I'm sorry, Matt?
Just one other thing. I know the crews are working, and you commissioners may hear, this time of year, we're working really hard on local road and primary road grading for soft surface roads and dust control. And then on top of that, we're trying to accomplish a lot of project work. So crews are really busy, but we are starting to get calls, and rightfully so. Just we haven't had a lot of rain.
Correct.
When we do get it, it's a lot, but then we get these dry periods and windy periods. So we're working really hard, and the crews are.
Mother Nature helps us at some points throughout the year. We just have to balance it a little bit. So scraping over the next few days, we may get dust calls, but we're gonna have rain before the week's out, where it'll suppress that a little bit. The roads will get nice and tight and solid again. And so it kind of goes back and forth as we go. But that helps us because that limits the time of needing to spray the brine. And the reason for that being helpful is the fact that, we don't want to work ourselves behind some of the perceived permit guidelines that inevitably they'll kind of sort themselves out as they reach final agreement with Eagles. So Matt does bring up a good point that, maintenance still continues while we're doing projects as well. And so we stretch ourselves pretty thin, but we're getting there. The crews are amazing. I honestly don't know how they get it all done, but.
This is a good precursor to our working session topic, gravel roads, which is coming up here. So.
Yeah, and you'll hear a lot of the words. I'll refer a lot to moisture content, how much it's going to help us. Where we let Mother Nature kind of help us every day. So she doesn't help us very often, but occasionally try to win the game.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
All right. Dan Ackerman. Finance report and IT.
So what's happened since
Hello again, board.
11 o'clock this morning, Dan?
Yes. Dan Ackerman, Director of Finance and IT. First of all, I appreciate everybody's attention this morning. We threw a lot of numbers at you. Obviously, they're all very important, and some good dialogue back and forth. And obviously, that doesn't need to stop with this morning. So it's an ongoing conversation. And at any time, if you have any concerns about the budget or questions, feel free to reach out. Obviously, I enjoy talking about it, but just a lot of good things that we covered this morning, and obviously very, very important to this agency. So again, appreciate your time this morning. So I'll be pretty brief since I did a lot of talking this morning. As far as IT, the Windows 11 upgrade is complete. So thanks to all of you for scheduling time with.
Get his Did
He
Okay,
did, yeah,
all right.
yes, he did.
Good job, Jeff.
Yes.
You're still with us.
So again, another project completed and Chris and Josh did a great job and nice to have that in the rear view mirror. So Josh has moved on to PC refreshes for 2024. He's about 25% complete with that. And he also went and inventoried IT items as well, something you want to look at periodically. With regards to finance, on page 47, we have the latest Michigan transportation funds. They were up about 5% in February of 2024 compared to 23. For the year, they're up about 3%. So again, positive trend, only 2 months of data. So we'll have several more months by the second quarter. So if the trends continue, hopefully we can make an adjustment for that, which would be great. So now my attention is to the 2023 Act 51 report. It's due by May 1st. And I'm about finished with that. And my plan next is to share it with the leadership team and then submit it hopefully within a week or so and get that taken care of. Barb, as the meeting was taking place, we received an email from DTE with regards to signing up for ACHs.
As they said, yes, please, let's hurry, go.
They referred to it as a welcome survey. I'm not sure what the welcome survey is with regards to ACH signups. Certainly, we will complete that. And, and as I stated this morning, 80%, 90%, whatever, as we get closer to 100%, some of those remaining vendors may be a bit of a challenge to get signed up, or some are not capable. Again, some of the smaller organizations, Jamie Kraus in finance is making a list of those that have said, no, we cannot, we don't have the capabilities to receive payment via ACH. And we've kind of talked about that too. Maybe we say, okay, if you cannot sign up for ACH, we will cut you a check, but you need to come into our office and pick it up. We will no longer be mailing checks. So there's some other things we've been talking about as well. And again, I think there's been some issues with the mail, unfortunately. And that may be incentive enough for others to sign up, or, I kind of like that as an additional control that we could possibly put in place. So, certainly we'll do all we can to get folks signed up, and Barb, I will certainly keep you posted with DTE and let you know how that's progressing. So
I'd love to know what this welcome survey is. Is
Yeah,
this just another delay?
I believe you were on the email, so you
okay.
can see what the survey looks like, but
Great.
And that's my report.
Commissioner Yamas.
I think we spoke about this before, ACH opposed to bill pay from the bank. And I understood that bill pay from the bank, like setting up paying the bills from the bank sending out checks, was safer than ACH. But our bank does not allow that, or that's the state of Michigan doesn't recommend that. I can't remember.
I'm sorry. I believe that's the county treasurer's office.
Okay.
We kind of go through them with some of our banking, and they've actually helped implement several of the controls we have in place that I agree with. Sometimes it makes things a little more challenging, but I think they've more protected the agency than hurt our ability to do business. But the county treasurer's office, last I spoke with them on that, that's something that they really don't have. And I think it was for control purposes is
Okay.
why they did not recommend or support going that route. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just will say, it's like I liken it to ACH as a push, where we're pushing payment.
Right.
And rather than them pulling out
Yes.
unbeknownst to us, so
Yeah.
we're more secure and
We're push
more
payment.
aware with the push.
Well,
I'm
right.
okay being pushy.
That's
don't
right.
worry, but-
As Matt stated, a poll is you would actually provide your banking information and they would go in and grab the funds. And the county treasurer's office said, no, that is not a good business practice. And I certainly support that.
Right, and so do I. So
Yes.
I'm thinking ACH is the same thing as bill pay. So instead of people pulling money, I set up
Push it, right?
Push
push
it
it out.
Right.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
But one's a written instrument and one is an electronic transfer, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Great, well, thank you.
All right, we get DTE taken care of. You give me my next target.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
thanks, Dan.
That's all we have.
Okay. Commissioners, anything else? All right, our next regular board meeting is May 7th at 1, no working session that day. Spring training, as we've said a few times, that's next Monday, right? Next
Correct.
Monday, breakfast at 6:30, introductions at 7. And then the program shortly thereafter. Virtual chat sessions every Wednesday, noon to 1. In April, tomorrow, I'm on call. 24th, Commissioner Green. May 1st is Commissioner Yamas. So if there's no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Aaron, if you would, please.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.